have some guests from this remarkable documentary, In Their Shoes. So welcome. Who should we start with? Cheryl. Cheryl pointed over at the other guys. And, of course, I said Cheryl. Cheryl Buchanan, welcome. Is that how I pronounce your last name?
Yes.
I got it right? So we got Cheryl. Do you want to introduce the other two guys?
Absolutely. Thank you. So we've got Zachary Paul and Stephen Crivellaro here, my co-stars, I suppose,
Yeah.
in the documentary.
So tell us, the co-stars in the documentary. Tell us about the documentary. Let's go. Let's
Thank you.
jump right in.
Well, they're also my colleagues, but we can get back to that. The documentary began in October of 2017, and the incentive was to show and really get inside the lives of folks coming out of prison in reentry for the first year of their lives while they were also in addiction recovery.
Wow.
And our connection was that they were both in a writing workshop with me, with Writers Without Margins, and we had really gotten to know each other, and I felt like I was sort of a insider witness to what was going on in their lives, and I felt that that was a real privilege to have that kind of trust and that kind of relationship, and there was an opportunity for others to actually, potentially, if they would trust me, to kind of be the mediator, rather than the storyteller, to share that, you know, to a wider audience, and that's what we embarked upon, having no idea what that year would really look like.
So were you guys out of incarceration by that time?
Yes.
And I'm going to just throw this out there. What preparation did they give you coming out of incarceration for the
take
world?
This one first, or do you want me to?
Feel free, please do.
So,
and this is Zach, right?
yeah, this
Go
is
ahead.
Zach. Yeah.
Okay.
So, this time around was my second time released from prison, and I mean, the first time going through, there was really no preparation for release. I did the 90-day kind of parole reentry program, but they let you go home like a couple times after the last 30 days. They let you do like an overnight at home, but that was really it. It wasn't like there was any programs really helping you kind of reintegrate back into society. I ended up, relapsing, ended up back in prison for a year, and then got out and re-paroled into this 6-month program, and it kind of, helped me build structure, gave me kind of time to, get things in order and stuff like that. But in prison, there wasn't much, programming to help. I mean, they have some programs in there, but they don't really focus on the right things, I don't think.
So you weren't in prison for using drugs. I mean,
No.
What were you in prison actually for?
So the charges I was convicted for was armed robbery and kidnapping.
Okay.
Which is I robbed, a store I used to work for a couple times because I knew how, the whole area was and everything, and eventually caught up with me. And the kind of funny thing is, like, I mean, I technically wasn't charged with crimes related to drugs, but obviously the reason I was committing those crimes was because of drugs.
Yeah.
And my first time through the prison system, that first 2 years, when I tried to take any, drug-related programs to help myself, they wouldn't allow me in them because my crimes weren't drug-related.
Ugh.
And then that second time, parole made it a stipulation to take those programs. So it was like, maybe if you let me do it the first time, I might have had more of a chance.
So because the crimes were not drug-related, you couldn't take...
Can't check the box, can't move on, right? There's a form that's got to be filled out.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Stephen, what about you? What do you think about this preparation?
There, in my situation and from my experience, there's really no preparation coming out of prison. You have no idea what to
Still
expect.
to this day, 2019 to 18.
I mean,
Come on, really?
The theory is when you first go in, it's like you do the crime and you do the time.
Yeah.
But you have no idea what's in store for you once you're released back out in the real world and the struggles that inevitably follow that release.
See, there's my ignorance right there. I thought in the last 5 to 10 years we have come a long way in helping integrate back into society and eliminate the recidivism. Recidivism, is that the right word?
Sounds about right.
That's a good word. But is that? I mean, Tim Cruz, our DA, may say so, but here are these guys. They're
Here
living
it is. Proof positive.
What do you think? I mean,
Yeah.
yes, no.
No.
So you just went. They open the door, just like in the movies. They open the door. Here you go. Good luck.
Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
right?
I mean, there are resources available to those who really strive for them, and they are limited. So again, here you have like a demand, and then you have a certain number of beds, and the demand surpasses the availability, and you have people that really want to find a better way of life and to do something different, but have no means to do so.
But now you have.
Yes.
So what changed? What changed? So one of the things that we talk about here is the I am approach. The I am is saying we're all doing the best we can. This is our current masculine potential. This is who I am, and I matter. Influenced by 4 things: your home domain, the social domain, biological domain of your brain and body, and the I see, how I see myself, how I think other people see me. So there you are in the social domain of prison, and now you come back out. What happened? How did this woman sitting next to you have an influence on what's going on with you now?
It's an incredible story. I mean, quite honestly, there's so many times in my past that I've wanted to move forward to like change my life for the better, and it really comes down to people just didn't believe in me. And that was until I found Writers Without Margins and Cheryl Buchanan and everyone else that was really involved with this film. They came in, Cheryl came in as a facilitator for a creative writing workshop that focuses on expressive writing. And I kind of jumped right in. I was hesitant, like I observed from a distance, but I was involved right along. And when the opportunity for the documentary came along to tell my story and to show who I really was, who I truly was, my inner self, that's when my life started transforming. And the last 2 years of my life, I've accomplished more than, probably double what I have in my entire life. So
Wow.
that really speaks volumes.
I got to tell you, I got goosebumps when you said, believed in me, because that is so it. That is exactly what it is. Because as human beings, we all want the same thing. We want to just feel valued by someone. Just think about every person you've ever met in your life. They all want the same thing. They want to feel valued. And what's cool is at every and any moment in time, you can remind someone of their value.
Yes.
Whenever you remind someone of their value, you increase your own value. So that's what you've done, Cheryl. That's what you've done. What's that like for you?
Well, it's a little overwhelming to see how in these programs, how that is the commonality. I mean, there's a lot of stereotypes, right, about who goes to prison. And I do think that, whether something happens in somebody's early childhood or whether, something doesn't happen, throughout their life, what I see over and over is one of the hardest writing prompts. And it's interesting because Zach now assistant facilitates with me, and he sees it, and Stephen now does communications and programming with me, so he comes to lots of workshops. But what we see in the participants over and over is one of the hardest assignments is write your bio. Because when you've been labeled over and over as, mentally ill or a criminal or an addict, there's something to be said for figuring out what the problem is and then solving it. But you ask them to write the bio, and they will really struggle with saying positive things about themselves and believing in anything beyond, some of these ways that they've been sort of trapped in an identity that was handed to them over. I don't walk into a room and announce the worst thing I've ever been called, but I think in the writing workshops we see that. So I don't think what I'm trying to do is even profound. It's just that it's probably a first, and it's happening, in a really critical time.
It is a critical time.